Good morning, students. So welcome to the online platform again, and we don't know how long we are going to continue with this in this platform. Anyhow, listen students, for one class I think I have completed this chapter, body fluids and circulation. For the other, a part is left, isn't it? The last part is left. So today we will be discussing two topics, that is regulation of cardiac activity as well as disorders of circulatory system. Okay. So those who have already listened to the same, please do listen once again, so that it will be helpful. Okay, so from tomorrow onwards we will be starting with a new chapter. Today the last part of the chapter. Okay, so first is your regulation of cardiac activity. As you all know, cardiac activity has to be regulated. Means all your activities are regulated mainly by your nervous system, isn't it? But as for heart is concerned, we have already discussed there are a set of tissues present called as what? Nodal tissues. That's why the heart is myogenic in nature. Myogenic means what? They are self-excitable. They can control themselves. With the presence of these nodal tissues are otherwise called as pacemaker tissues of the heart, isn't it? So, nodal tissue discussion we have already done. There is SA node, then there is AV node, then AV bundle. Thereafter, you can find what? The Purkinje fibers. So, these tissues, when you are seeing, they are generating action potential, they are generating electric impulse, and they are controlling the contraction and expansion of the heart, isn't it? So that is one way by which the heart is controlling itself, its activity, cardiac activity. So the first one is the nodal tissue. Hope so it's clear. The second one you are seeing, it's autonomic nervous system. So when we have already discussed nervous system is of three types, isn't it? One is CNS, central nervous system. Second one is peripheral nervous system. Third one is autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system includes what? Brain as well as spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system includes what? It includes the nerves which are coming out from the brain, that is the cranial nerves, and the nerves which are coming from the spinal cord, that is the spinal nerves, isn't it? And autonomic nervous system is a set of nervous system which comes into action when you are under stressed condition, under emergency condition. This system comes into action, and this system is in turn divided into two. What are they? One is your sympathetic nervous system, and the second one is your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So this nervous system is regulated by another one organ, that is your gland. Which gland? Adrenal gland. Where is the adrenal gland present? It is present just above the kidney, a triangular structure, a gland present called as what? Adrenal gland. This adrenal gland, the center of the adrenal gland, we call it as adrenal medulla. What do we call them? We call them as adrenal medulla. Okay. So this adrenal medulla, when you are seeing, they are secreting a hormone under stressful condition, under emergency condition. That hormone we call it as what? Adrenaline or noradrenaline. So why is this hormone secreted? When you are under stress, when you are under some emergency condition. That's why we can call this hormone as emergency hormone, fight or flight hormone. For example, I say, if you are just seeing a snake, immediately either if you are confident enough, you are bold enough, either you will fight with it. Fight means you are going to kill it. Otherwise, you will run away from that place, isn't it? So, when you are just seeing that one, when you are entering an examination hall, at that time, when you are seeing, your heart will not be beating at a regular rate. Heartbeat will increase because you are under stressed condition. Okay, you are under emergency condition. So, your heartbeat rate increases. So, this heartbeat rate is increasing because of the release of this hormone called as what? Adrenaline. And this adrenaline hormone, adrenaline or adrenaline, is controlled by what? Autonomic nervous system. So when this hormone is released, autonomic nervous system is activated, and the sympathetic nervous system of the autonomic nervous system, they brings about all the actions which are under emergency condition. So what are the actions? Your heartbeat rate increase, your respiration rate increase, your dilation of the pupil will be taking place, you will be much alert, and thereafter, like when you are getting a question paper, all what changes takes place in your body, just you can imagine, isn't it? Then goosebumps and all can be seen. So these all are possible when the adrenaline is released, autonomic nervous system activated, sympathetic nervous system is on action. Okay. So this emergency condition means the snake or the examination is not for lifelong, isn't it? So immediately after that function is over, immediately that emergency situation is over, You have to come back to normal. Okay. So who is controlling that one? Parasympathetic nervous system is bringing your conditions back to normal. Understood? So like that, adrenaline is increasing your heartbeat rate. How? Adrenaline is activating the autonomic nervous system to produce, means to increase your heartbeat rate in order to withstand the emergency conditions. Okay. So this is regarding the regulation of cardiac activity. So what are the three regulations? One is your nodal tissue, myogenic heart, that the heart will regulate its action itself. Second is your adrenaline, adrenal medulla is secreting a hormone called as what? Adrenaline, which is bringing about your emergency response, increasing your heartbeat. How? It is controlled by whom? This autonomic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system comes into action. And when it is in action, your heartbeat rate increases. To bring back to normal, parasympathetic nervous system is helping. Okay. So with this, we are completing regulation of cardiac activity. Next, we are going to see disorders of circulatory system. Okay. Many disorders are there, but we are going to discuss only few. The first is hypertension. So hypertension, when do you occur, you think? It's nothing but high blood pressure. You know, when the heart is contracting, that is when the ventricles is contracting, at that time the pressure should be about 120 mmHg. So systolic pressure, contraction, systole, you know, isn't it? So when the ventricles are in contracted state, means when it is contracting, the blood flow through the arteries, when you are seeing, it should be how much? It should be 120 mmHg. Okay. And when you are seeing when the heart is relaxed, that is ventricle is relaxed, diastole, at that time it should be 80 mmHg. So normal blood pressure will be how much? It will be 120 by 80 mmHg. Okay. Now, in case if there is a fluctuation and the pressure increases from 120 to 140 or more than that, systolic pressure, and diastolic pressure from 180 to 90 or more than that, okay, from 90 or more, then this condition is called as what? Hypertension or high blood pressure. Very dangerous condition, because with this pressure, if it is flowing to different internal organs, the internal organs can also get affected. Okay, so that is hypertension, one of the disorder of what? The cardiac system. But main condition is what? The arteries are getting narrowed. So most of the conditions when you are seeing, arteries are getting narrowed. Okay. Now, coronary artery diseases, otherwise referred to as CAD, coronary artery disease. Okay. So what is happening? You know that coronary artery is the artery which is taking blood to the heart muscles, isn't it? So when this coronary artery is narrowed because of deposition of calcium or because of deposition of your cholesterol, so what is happening? The blood is not flowing in normal flow because the space is becoming less, isn't it? So narrowing of the artery lessens the space, gap between them, isn't it? So when the arteries are getting narrowed because of deposition of calcium or cholesterol, then obviously what is happening? The required amount of blood is not flowing in a proper way, isn't it? So that condition we call it as atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. Okay, arteriosclerosis. Some problems in that artery. Okay, so this what is the consequences if you see this arteriosclerosis or atherosclerosis? What is the consequences? It will lead to a condition called as thrombosis. So what is thrombosis? When this calcium or cholesterol is getting deposited there, you can find sometimes what happens. These deposits cause the rupture of the walls in the arteries. Arterial walls are getting ruptured. So when the arterial walls are getting ruptured, it is as if an injury has taken place. So immediately we have learned clot formation. So when there is a injury or when there is a rupture, the platelets will release thromboplastin, thromboplastin will release thrombokinase, thrombokinase will convert prothrombin to thrombin, and this thrombin will convert fibrinogen to fibrin, isn't it? And the fibrin will help in the formation of clot. So inside the artery, what is produced? A clot is produced. Now when this clot is produced, that condition we call it as thrombosis. So the blood till here it will come, after the clot it is difficult to move. So there will be a blockage in the artery. So that condition we call it as thrombosis or atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. Broader sense you are having, in detail we are not going. Okay. So this is all related to what? Coronary artery diseases. When the coronary artery is getting narrowed because of deposition of calcium or cholesterol, there is a rupture in the walls of these because of this deposition, which will result in the, what is it resulting in? It is resulting in the rupture of the walls. So when the arterial walls are ruptured, clot will form inside, and this clot formation will lead to dangerous consequences. Okay, so this is coronary artery disease. Next is your angina. So angina is acute chest pain. Okay, all of a sudden you are having a very severe chest pain. So why this chest pain is taking place? Because oxygen which is supplied to the heart muscles is less, because of which heart muscles are not functioning properly. So when heart muscle goes everything smoothly, everything is fine. But when they are under pressure, when they are not getting sufficient oxygen, they are working in what is that? In an anaerobic way, we can say. So in that case, it will lead to what? It will be leading to your acute chest pain. That condition we call it as angina. Okay, sometimes we think that it is heart attack, but actually it is only an acute chest pain, only and not dangerous only. Acute chest pain, which is called as angina. The last is your heart failure. Okay. So when does this happen? When one of the example is oxygen which is going into the lungs is less. We have discussed about lungs when the walls of the alveoli is damaged because of some of the other reasons, diseases, asthma, like that. The oxygen which is reaching the lungs is less. Obviously the oxygen, if it is reaching the lungs is less, then in the blood is also less. Oxygen which is reaching the heart is less. So when the oxygen is insufficient to the heart muscles and the heart is not pumping adequate amount of blood to different parts of our body, so heart is under pressure. Okay, so oxygen is, they are not getting it because of lung congestion. That's why conjunctive heart failure also we can call it. So congestive heart failure, when you are saying lung is not getting oxygen, so obviously heart will not get oxygen. When there is lack of oxygen, the cardiac muscles, which is restless muscles, they will under pressure and they cannot function properly. Understood? And it is leading to damage of the heart muscles because of insufficient supply of blood to the heart muscles. That is called as what? Heart attack. What do we call that? Heart attack, because oxygen is not reaching. The cardiac muscle is stopping to function. And all of a sudden, if the heart stops beating, all the muscles all of a sudden is not getting proper supply. In the beginning, okay, so all of a sudden if it is not getting, all the muscles are not, and the heart is coming to a halt, stop. It is resulting in what? Cardiac arrest. Okay. So heart failure because of insufficient supply to the heart muscles, that is the blood muscles. The blood is not properly sufficient, blood is not supplied. You can find heart attack is there. And when all these cells of the heart is stopping to function, so in that case it will lead to a cardiac arrest. Okay. So most of the cells are becoming stopping their function. That is, what is the function of the heart? Beating. Beating function is stopped. Then it will lead to a condition called as what? Cardiac arrest. Okay. So these are the disorders of the circulatory system: hypertension, coronary artery diseases, angina, and heart failure. Okay. So with this, we are winding up with this chapter. So next is your excretory system. So we will be meeting tomorrow. Till then, bye bye.